shellac where we had to go so quickly, and I said I couldn't talk much about brush technique. With varnish, you've got not all the time in the world, but you've got a little bit of time that you don't have to worry about wet edges. So you can start almost anywhere, but obviously, or maybe it's not so obvious, generally we want to start at the top and work down. In case you do have any drips or splatters, obviously they're going to go down, and we don't want to have a really nice side surface and then come up here on the top and splatter something there and try to go back and fix it. So start on the top and work your way down generally. I also like to start not at an edge, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment. That is, you want to pull anything, whether it's varnish or paint that we're using, pull it off of an edge. Don't pull it across an edge. In fact, I'm going to turn this sideways just so I can show you the nasty thing that happens if you do that. If you do it the opposite way, as I said, we want to work across an edge or from the inside out as we're spreading paint or varnish. If you don't, and almost everybody has done this, if you do it the opposite way, here's what tends to happen. And you won't notice that maybe necessarily right away. It just happens, and later on you go, oh my gosh, what happened? How did I get this huge sag or these runs going across like that? And it's because you're just simply pulling the paint, just like you do when you get rid of the extra in the paint can. You're doing the same thing, and you're sending just waves of, in this case, varnish, but it could be paint or whatever other product that you're using, running down the sides. So you always want to brush. Of course, now we want to fix that, get rid of some of this extra right now. So as you're doing the surface, and everything will break down into surfaces. There are going to be some different shaped ones, and we'll get to that in a moment when we get to this front. But essentially everything is going to be some sort of rectangular shape, and you like to put the varnish on from the middle or from somewhere that is not the very edge and stroke out to the edges. And of course we're trying to keep a fairly even amount. If you've got a thick amount in one area and not enough somewhere, pick it up and move it over. And in the case of this little small edge here, I'm going to make sure to get some varnish on it, but be careful because it does have the kind of shape that almost begs to have too much coming off and start running down the side. And once again, I've got these waves, but I'll get back to this side. We'll fix this side before it has a chance to set up. But with the varnish, we have a lot of time. So the whole top at this point has been covered. It's fairly even. And you can just go back and start tipping off. If you've got too much varnish, just as you're tipping off, get rid of some of the extra in the can and come back. And you're just kind of bringing the brush, almost bring the brush down for a landing. And I'm working this direction first, but come back, the same for the other side. I always love putting this first coat of varnish on because this is what really brings out the color and the depth. It's kind of just one of those neat kind of feelings. And this is where you can find out just, did I pick a nice color with my stain and so on. So I'm finished with the case part of this, and I'm going to go ahead and continue with the drawer fronts and so on. And then I'm going to put this all aside and let it dry for at least a day. After the first coat has dried, you can really get a good idea of what the piece is going to look like. It's really quite lovely at this stage.